What is going on, guys? This is Matt from Heroes United here to bring you a review for the 20th, believe it or not, 20th movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp is bringing back Paul Rudd, and we are also bringing back Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly as Hank Pym, and we're also bringing them back as Scott Lang and the Wasp herself, who is having her debut in this movie. And I will say, starting off with the positives of this movie, Evangeline Lilly kicks ass as the Wasp. I'll definitely say that. She definitely has a presence in the movie. Michael Douglas, as always, even though he doesn't really get to do as much because he's much older Hank Pym than his comic book counterpart, he still definitely has a presence. Now, when it comes comparing this movie to the last movie, when it comes to action, the action is definitely better. When it comes to story, sadly, I have to say this one is a bit weaker compared to the first one. And I adore the first one. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. I'm one of the ones that likes a lot of the Marvel movies that people typically don't like. The Ant-Man is definitely one of my favorites. And going off the positives, I will say bringing back Scott Lang's crew with Louise and two other guys. I'm not going to lie, they're not really the most important people, but they are really fun. Bringing them back is really cool. And I will say this does definitely deal with the fallout of Civil War. It's probably only one of the few Marvel movies that actually deals with the direct fallout of Civil War. And I'm not gonna lie, it is done really well. It is done, honestly, it's done probably the best it can possibly be. Michelle Pfeiffer, definitely Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. Not gonna lie, she doesn't get much to do. Honestly, I feel like they didn't really have a plan for her, but I don't understand why, because the plot of this movie is getting her back from the quantum realm. But since they got her back, I will say it does lead to definitely some interesting things in the future for especially the quantum realm, which obviously is known as the microverse in the Marvel Universe. But for legal reasons, they have to use the quantum realm, which I think honestly makes more sense when you get into the physics of the film. Now, to get into the negatives, I'll definitely say there are some minor characters in this movie that do not belong, honestly. I'm not trying to rewrite the movie or anything, but there is one character. He is not like a side villain, but honestly, he's just an obstacle for the characters to lead into, honestly, just an action set piece. He honestly does nothing in this movie. The villain Ghost, the actress is really good, but my main problem is she doesn't get enough to do. They try to play her off as honestly sympathetic. She comes off as sympathetic to a point, but then the film doesn't do enough with her to make me care. I will say if the best way I can compare it to is if you've seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Harry Osborn. Basically, they both have a urgency as to why they're doing what they're doing, and hers makes more sense than his. His just makes absolutely no sense. Hers makes sense, but could be fleshed out a bit more. Beyond that, the story honestly is pretty basic. It is small scale, just like the first Ant-Man, and I feel like that works for this franchise, just keeping things small scale, but still building those like adding on to the building blocks of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which honestly I think that's great. And one of the building blocks they added was Lawrence Fishburne as Bill Foster. And Bill Foster, some of you don't know, is Goliath in the Marvel Universe. And honestly, he is well acted, well played. Lawrence Fishburne, I mean, what more do you want? I mean, the guy is great in everything else he does. Um, Honestly, final verdict, without giving away any spoilers to spoil anything. Uh, you don't really honestly need to see this movie. It's honestly kind of skippable out of all the Marvel movies. But what's not skippable is the post-credit scene, because that leads directly into Avengers 4. So I would definitely go see it for that. It sadly is kind of skippable. I hate to say it because I really do love Ant-Man. This movie is a lot of fun to watch. I would definitely recommend go seeing it if you're looking for a fun time. Beyond that, I would definitely wait to see it closer to when Avengers 4 is released, because there's really no urgency. Um, but yeah, honestly, I mean, this is one of the weaker ones, but it's definitely a really fun ride. It's really funny. The only thing is comedy does get a little borderline, so if you the one thing about the Marvel movies, they do have a lot of comedy in them. This probably is the funniest, so if you're not a fan of comedy, I would definitely suggest skipping this one and then just honestly reading the synopsis so you're prepared for Avengers 4. But until next time, we'll actually be providing you with a spoiler discussion with my co-host Bruce, so please be on the lookout for that. Until then, this is Matt from Heroes United, and I will see you guys next time. So stop.